Hi, my name's Paul Grogan, and in this gaming rules video I'm going to be giving you an overview of the board game ZhanGuo, published in 2014 by What's Your Game. In ZhanGuo, 2 to 4 players each take on the role of an emissary of the emperor in ancient China, and have the challenging task of helping to unify the empire. During the game, players will recruit officials, hire workers, build palaces, and help to construct the Great Wall, whilst also trying to deal with the growing unrest of the local population. The game is played over 5 rounds, and the player with the most points at the end of the game wins. At the start of each round, all players are dealt 2 cards from each of the 3 decks. Players then take turns playing 1 card from their hand, either to their own player board or onto the main game board. Once all cards are played, the round comes to an end and unification rewards are given out. After 5 rounds, the game is over. Additional points are then given for a variety of things, and the player with the most points wins the game. Each card has a unique number. Cards from the ivory deck represent writing and are numbered 1 to 40. Ones from the orange deck representing currency are 41 to 80, and cards 81 to 120 are from the brown deck representing law. By drawing 2 cards from each deck at the start of the round, players should have a good range of numbers in their hand. A card may be played in one of 2 ways. First, it may be played to your own player board, where it's tucked underneath the top edge of a region of your choice. Playing a card in this way gives you a number of octagons in the same colour as the card you played. 1 for the first card in a region, 2 for the second, and 3 for the third. Also, the second and third card played into a region increases the level of unrest in that region by 1 or 2 respectively. For example, if I add this card to region 2, I get 2 orange octagons and the level of unrest increases by 1. If I then play this card, I get 3 brown octagons and the unrest goes up 2 more spaces. I'll explain more what the octagons and unrest do in a later chapter. The other option for a card is to play it onto the main game board. Doing this allows you to choose one of the 6 court actions printed on the board. It's important to remember that you can choose any of the 6 actions no matter what colour or number of the card you play. However, the number on the card is used to determine if you are able to trigger the abilities of the cards on your player board. If you choose one of these 3 actions, and the card you play has a higher number than the one on top of the pile, you may trigger the abilities of all cards on your player board whose icon matches the action you chose. For example, the top card on the pile is number 58, and I decide to play card number 75 and choose to build a palace. Because the card I played had a higher number, then after building the palace, I triggered the abilities of all cards on my player board which show the palace icon. In this case, I only have 1 such card, and the ability of that is to gain 3 points. In a similar way, if you choose either of these actions, you get to trigger your abilities if the card you play has a lower number than the one on top of the pile. I'm going to explain these actions in the order in which they usually occur. This action allows you to recruit an official of any colour and place it in the top half of any region on your player board. Officials may be reassigned to different areas with this action. You gain 3 reassignment points, which can be spent to move officials as indicated by the arrows on your player board. For example, I could move these 2 officials from here to here, and then move this one to here. Note the tick mark on this arrow. It means that during your turn, no matter what action you perform, you may move officials from the top area to the bottom area. Once you have officials in a lower area of a region, you may perform this action, which allows you to hire 1 worker for each official you have there. However, since the local population are resistant to this, the level of unrest in that region increases by 1. Note that you can never choose an action that would cause you to gain more unrest than you can have in a region. So in region 1, I couldn't hire workers again. When you have 1 official of each colour in the upper area of a region, you may choose this action and install a governor in that region. Place the 3 officials back in your supply and put one of your governors onto the game board in the appropriate region. If there is an available bonus space, you may place it there to get that bonus. If these are full, just place it nearby. Installing a governor removes any unrest in that region. Place the black cube back in your supply. Governors are also worth points at the end of the game if you have the majority of them in a region. To build a palace, discard 2 workers from the region you wish to build in and 1 worker from another region and place a palace on the main board. This immediately scores you points equal to the number of cards on your player board. Building a palace also awards you one of the large octagons in a colour of your choice. These octagons are explained later. To build part of the Great Wall, choose one of the available wall sections and discard 1, 2 or 3 workers depending on the section that you choose. However, if you have to spend 2 or 3 workers, they must come from different regions. Sections of the Great Wall will earn you points at the end of the game if you meet the conditions shown on the tile. At the end of each round, 3 rewards are granted to the players who have collected the most octagons in each of the 3 colours. Firstly, the player who has collected the most ivory octagons, representing that they contributed the most to the unification of writing, will get one of these rewards depending on the round of the game. For example, at the end of round 1, the player will get an official of their choice in region 1. Then, the reward for the most orange octagons is given, and finally, the one for the most brown. The large octagons gained when building a palace are worth 3 smaller ones. When you take a reward, you return all of your octagons of that colour to the supply. You may, however, choose not to take the reward. For example, if you are planning ahead and you want a better chance of getting the reward in the next round. In this case, you keep your octagons and the player with the second most has the option of taking the reward instead. After rewards are given out, the position of the markers on this track is used to determine player order for the next round. The top part of each region is where you track the level of unrest. In this example, Region 3 has 2 levels of unrest, and Region 4 has none. You cannot perform an action that would cause you to gain more unrest than there is space for on the track. So in Region 3, I am not allowed to play a third card here, because that would cause the level of unrest to increase by 2. Unrest also restricts the actions that you can take. If the marker reaches or passes this icon, you may not construct a palace in that region. Also, if the marker passes or reaches this icon, you may not trigger the abilities of your cards in that region. An extra way of scoring points is by completing the Emperor's tasks. These are chosen at random when the game starts and give you additional objectives to aim for. Each tile indicates what you need to have done to complete that task. For example, to complete this task, you need to have built a palace in regions 3, 4 and 5. Once you do this, place one of your discs on the leftmost empty space. This will score you the points shown at the end of the game. However, if you complete multiple tasks in the same group, these points will be doubled or even tripled. Remember that points are also scored at the end of the game for sections of the wall that you've built and for having the majority of governors in a region. I hope you found this video useful and it's given you a good overview of the game. For more information, check out the What's Your Game website. Take care and thanks for watching.